Let's start with the quarterback. What do you think of Zane Flores, and what does his potential look like?
Well, he's had tremendous success. He's really developed over the last 6 to 8 months with his ability to move around and run. We're thrilled with what he brings to the table. Tremendous success in high school, winning a lot of games, carrying his team. I think where he's really improved over the summer is his ability to run. That's a big part of college football now, so we're really excited about his future.
You've seen his arm. It's pretty high caliber for a kid his age.
No question, yeah. To go as far as, to make it as far as he went when that Elite 11 contest and all that, which is a lot of that's obviously on ability to throw, accuracy, arm strength. We knew that. That was kind of a no-brainer, but his mental capacity and his football savvy, football IQ, and his ability to move has really upped his game, in my opinion.
He's always stayed pretty steady, but was there a worry when Nebraska made the coaching change that was going to get kicked back up?
Well, I think now there's always a worry in recruiting. You establish relationships, and young people make decisions for whatever reason, but we just stayed the course, and obviously it worked out well.
Mike, you've got 4 offensive linemen in this group. How do you feel about those guys as a collective?
Really good. We wanted we try to bring in young offensive linemen in every class to develop them, and one of them's right here close to home. Jacoby Sanders essentially has grown up in our house. He's been at our house just about every day since he's been this tall, and I think he's special. His ability to play center, his football IQ. He can snap. He's a 400-pound bencher already. I think he's a 550-pound squatter already. At some point over the next year, could be the strongest guy on our team. And then Gage, a tough guy from out in West Texas. Jack is a big, long guy that developed into really being a good tackle. I'm trying to remember the other one.
Yeah, Kim.
Oh, yeah. He's going on a mission. Once he takes care of his business, he ended up being a really good addition for us late. He was a little bit of a surprise, jumped on board, but we're excited about him once he comes back in a couple of years.
If that's an area you like who you got there, are there areas where with the later signing day that you'll be looking to maybe fill some other spots?
We could. There's a lot of uncertainty now with how many numbers we'll have because we don't know exactly who will be on our team in 2 weeks. So we have to wait to balance those numbers out.
On Kemet, there's a little risk there when you have to wait for a mission. What was the thought process there, kind of just knowing that you're going to have to wait for him to get on campus?
Well, there's not any risk because his number doesn't count.
Right.
So really good family, squared away people, said this is what they want to do. With his background, I would have the sense to trust what he's going to say. And so the risk as far as a number, we don't have that number. But I'm pretty certain that when he comes back that he'll be on board.
I guess I checked. What I'm told, if they signed a financial aid agreement, you can talk about portal kids. Do you like the blend of what you were able to pick up in the portal combined with the guys today?
Yeah, we can't talk about any portals.
You won't talk about any portals?
No, can't do it.
Aside from the specific guys, the rule change allowing them to actually join the team in practice at this point in the year.
That's correct.
Is that what benefits other than maybe the obvious does that present for you?
There'll be some of them, and we don't know who yet, but there'll be some that want to join our team in Arizona who are really excited about being at a bowl and being part of our team. We just have to wait and see who's going to show up out there. Obviously, we'll know when they do. But I know there are some of them that are planning on joining our team in Arizona.
Do you like that rule change, though?
I guess. I haven't thought about it much. There's so many things that change now with rules that they're just kind of out of control. But I wouldn't see why it would be a disadvantage. I think it works. If a young man's excited about being a part of a team and wants to be on location with that team, I think they should have that opportunity.
Mike, go ahead.
You had 5 defensive backs
lot of versatility in all those guys. What other things did you like about those?
Yeah, let's scan them here. Kim, RJ, Dylan,
Taiwan Lake.
Taiwan, and Ladarius. Yeah, so we have a number of guys that can play a couple positions. We've got a couple of them locked in at what we think could be future corners, but then some guys that might move around at that nickel slot safety area. And so we have a little maturity there, and then some young guys we want to develop. That is one position, one group that we feel good about youth in our program. And so that gave us flexibility to go after some different guys, some young players.
Two guys that I find really curious. Hawassa Utu, and I know you got him in the summer in camp. He was kind of an edge guy that can kind of morph into a linebacker.
Right.
And then Ike, the linebacker you picked up, notice I didn't say the last name.
Right.
That you picked up late from Maynard, Texas. Can you talk a little bit about those two guys?
Yeah, both are really, really good young linebacker prospects that we feel good about their toughness, their future to develop their body. They can run. They're going to be linebackers for us, and eventually I think that both of them will be 230 pounds and run really well for that inside spot.
Both piled up numbers. Is that important to you to see a guy that just makes a ton of tackles? And I think Pawasu had like 30 behind the line of scrimmage.
Yes, guys that are productive in high school generally will be productive in college. Very few players, in our opinion, that aren't productive in high school are going to project to be very productive in college. So guys that rack up numbers and prove to us they can have a lot of success, make us feel much better.
You landed Iman this morning from NEO. What have you seen from him? What stood out to you?
He's 300 pounders, not a lot of them, right? So 6'2"-ish, 310, experienced, older, 2 years older. Local guy from Tulsa, a lot of family there. Wanted to be close to home, but it's hard for us to find 300-pounders and get him to be a part of our team. And I think that he's going to make huge strides over the next 8 months with Coach Glass. Just the nutrition, the development, the strength and conditioning he'll get, and give us another big body inside.
Did you know him in high school at all? Did you guys see him when he was at OSU?
Yeah, a little bit, but hopefully a lot of us missed on him in high school.
This is the first time we've talked to you since you guys got back on the field after the bowl assignment was announced. You lost some guys that were not only big players for you, but leaders for you. What have you seen out of the team as they've gotten back on the field to get ready for where you guys are headed right now?
Well, we had 10 good practices. Our guys have worked hard. Their attitudes have been great. They've competed. We went 2 days on, 1 day off all the way through up until a couple days ago, then before we let them go home. And they've had really good practices. We've worked hard and feel good about where we're at, and looking forward to getting out here and getting in our bowl boom routine.
It seems like you made a lot of late moves maybe this time more than you have in the past. Is that a product of the transfer portal? You got like 4 guys within the last week.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
With the class. Yeah. You had like 4 commitments in this past week, a lot of late moves. Is that a product of the transfer portal that you maybe needed to add some pieces late?
Well, I'm not sure. Some of these guys on here, you talking about maybe they made announcements late?
Yeah.
Well, I think that we knew they were coming here, to be honest with you. They just chose to make their announcement late. Kima visited just over the weekend, so he kind of confirmed he wanted to be here. I don't know. Oates was in a decision-making process. Tyron Ray came in just this weekend. And then who's the other one?
Ike.
Yeah, and then Ike was trying to decide on a couple things. So they were scheduled throughout the time. I think it was just kind of the timing of when they got here.
I have one more I wanted you to talk about. He played quarterback in high school at Furr in Houston. You're going to, I think, move into receiver, but he rushed for like 3,000 yards, too, in his career. Cameron Hurd seems special.
Yeah, he's very athletic. We look for a couple things. We look for multi-sport guys. We like wrestlers, and then we like quarterbacks that we think might be able to play another position. And I think he's going to be a really good fit at wide receiver.
Do you, Mike, with the portal factor, the early, late signing day, just all the things that have now come into play at this time of year, do you like the challenge of figuring all this out? You've always sort of let your assistants do a lot of their own recruiting, but how the puzzle fits, what's that challenge and how do you feel about it?
I'm not a big fan of all the stuff going on now because I think it creates uncertainty and it cheats high school players, in my opinion. I think that a large majority of schools across the country look for a public opinion, something to satisfy them with older kids. And I think high school players over the last class and this class and don't get recruited because of this. But it's kind of a sign of the times and we all have to make adjustments.
Would you still like to see a summer signing day for high school kids, like the 1st of July, and let the kids that have decided get that done?
Yeah, I think that players who are committed through the spring, for example, the 24s that will make decisions over the next 5 months, if they make a decision that we should have a July 1 and let them sign, get it over with. There's a tremendous risk from a financial standpoint right now, in my opinion, with recruiting budgets. I can only speak for us, but I can imagine it's everybody else, with the impact of the ability to transfer and increase numbers is going to cost athletic departments a bunch of money. They're going to find that out. Private airline flights, the different things that are going on now with this is going to cost a tremendous amount of money. And for that reason, if we could go ahead and lock young men down in July, then that saves, not that money's the most important thing, but if you're the guy that's counting the pennies and having to balance a budget, maybe it is. I think that if we're not careful, we're going to increase recruiting travel budgets, like here at Oklahoma State this year, probably $200,000, just because of all the stuff that's going on with transfers. And I'm sure that some schools may really struggle with that future situation. So I think there's a lot of things we could do to shore it up and make it better, but right now that's not the game we're in at this time.
Mike, with this punter, is it just a situation of you guys had success with Tom and you wanted to recreate that with an Australian, or is this just a coincidence he's coming from Australia?
No, those guys are trained differently. They come from the academy. They're trained for American football. They grow up kicking the ball all of their life. They have an ability to move to the right, move to the left, do different things with the ball. We've had tremendous success with it, so we're comfortable with that. We're comfortable with their ability. Logan's done a great job for us in filling in for Tom, and has got years to come. So we'll let those guys, punt it off and see where we're at. But the ability they have with the ball is different than what American kids have, just being on that sport that they played all their life.
How does that process work with the pro kick? Are they just constantly sending you tape of punters down there?
We have a great relationship with them. The two guys that are in charge of that academy, and they trust us with what we told them about Tom, the way we treated him. Tom gives them great feedback, and they nurture these men, and they send them to places where they trust the people that are going to take care of them, and we have a great relationship with them.
I know through Oklahoma, you had Jaden Foreman. He was the first kid you had in this class. What do you like about him?
Jaden is just scratching the surface with his body. He's, I don't know what he weighed now. It says 250. I think he's going to be 290 at some point. The time he gets with Coach Glass and develops himself, and he's got a really good demeanor. He's got good toughness, so he gives us another big body that's hard to find in this area.
Speaking of that, I see Ricky Lola. I think when he committed to you, he was 240.
That's right, yeah. Ricky's, it says here he's already over 300. We guessed him to be 300, so Ricky might be, I think when he gets here with Coach Glass, he'll slim up a little bit. But he's going to be a 300-pounder. But great kid, great family. Looking forward to what he brings to the table. Ladarius Webb's another guy that I'm excited about. He's mature. Yeah. He's very mature. He fits a spot, a couple guys that we lost. Older guy that can play that slot nickel, maybe even some corner. We'll see when we get him in here and see what kind of ability he has. So I'm excited about what he brings to the table. Another one we haven't talked much about, R.J. Lester, is really a skilled kid, from over there at Northside. Excited about what he brings to the table. Cam Franklin, Cam's been committed to us for a long time. So we've got a really good class, good group of guys. This is about the right number, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 18-ish or so is really a pretty good number of young guys to bring in, and I'm including the 2-year guys in a program because you're going to have some flexibility with the other stuff that's going on in recruiting now. And I'm guessing that number will be pretty accurate to balance your roster on. We'll find out where we're at in 2 weeks with what the other guys that we have to pick up based on roster size.
You mentioned Cam Franklin, Taiwan Reyes also. They're both listed at 6'2". You've had a couple other DBs the last past classes, Kendall Daniels, Cameron Epps, that were really tall guys.
Right.
Is that something you're looking for? Is it just coincidence?
Well,
that those guys are
you would
available?
always like to have, the bigger, taller, longer, faster is better, but it doesn't always work that way. It's production. And the ones that are taller, that have what would be a little bit bigger body, they're built for a certain position. And the good news is if they grow a bunch, then they can go and move to a different position because they have height. Sometimes if you don't have height, then it makes it a little bit more difficult. So it is advantageous.
Seems like Benny Tonga's fingerprints are in this class a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
How important was he?
Benny's big. Benny's a big part. Benny's been, gosh, I don't know how long Benny's been with me now, probably close to 10 years or something. But Benny speaks that language. That makes a big difference. You're talking about a very, very close-knit group of people, very family-friendly, loyal people. And Benny is a product of the cowboy culture, and his communication with those young men is very crucial in our success in recruiting them.
You need to keep him here. I've seen his son.
Oh yeah, well he's got some quite a few young ones there at the house that are very athletic. Sure.
Yeah.
How much did Coach Mason's connections help kind of discovering Taiwan?
Yeah, that was a relationship he had in that area, and went down. And in my opinion, he's a young man who has fallen victim to the different style of recruiting now, and kind of flew under the radar for
Big
whatever
senior
reason. I think if 4 years ago he would have had multiple offers at ACC and SEC schools, but there's not as much high school recruiting going on right now. And so there's players out there now that we haven't located them, but there's players out there now that are seniors in high school that aren't being recruited, that are good enough to play at our level. They're just not being recruited. So it's going to be interesting over the next few years how to locate those guys and where are they at. Are they at prep schools? Are they at junior colleges? Are they sitting a year and then reopen their recruiting a year from now, not enrolled in a school? You can do that. There's a lot of things going on now, so it'll be interesting to see how it works over the next few years.
Back to the current team for a minute. I know Garrett Rangel had some moments where he was the guy for a week or two here and there, but having a little bit more time looking at him, what have you seen from him during bowl prep?
Well, he's had a good 3 weeks of practice. He's worked hard, and he'll continue to grow and develop with every snap he gets. And so he's going to get more comfortable every day, and he's working hard. And we feel good about the progress he's made, and hopefully he'll grow up a little quicker than we want him to. It's going to take some time. Young players, it takes time for them to develop.
There's a couple more we got to get on the
The
plan.
progress you've seen already out of Garrett, what's the next step? What will you be looking for in the bowl game from him?
Well, same thing I would be any other player, just for him to develop mentally and comfortable decision-making throughout the game, just based on reps. I'm going to go back to where we were the first 2 years with Spencer. And guys that had covered us for a long time realized where we were at with him for the first 2 years. The people would come to me and give the outside opinion of that this guy's not good enough, we need to get rid of him. And he needs to take time to develop. And then in the end, everybody wanted him back. So it changed real quick. So it just takes time for those young quarterbacks to develop.
You said in the Zoom that you weren't sure whether the portal, the guys that you had on your roster that entered the portal would play with you or not. Do you have any decisions on that? On whether the
I
guys,
said what now?
the guys that entered the portal from your team, whether they'd play in the bowl game or not like they did last year?
No, the guys that have gone in the portal for us, they're not on our team, no.
All good?
Are you done for today with signings? Is this everybody right now?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I know we have 2 players out there that we might get later in the day. But I'm going to be real honest with you. The way this transpires now, I'm usually the last person to know. Like somebody will text me and say, this happened. And I mean, really, it's changed so much. Like the day before signing, which would be yesterday and all last night, used to be just 24/7 communication on the phone, texting, all this. It's not that way anymore. It just, it's much different than it's ever been. So we could end up with another one, my guess, but from what I've been told, that wouldn't be until 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon here. So I don't think there's any reason for y'all to check wear yourself out, checking whatever you check. I don't think it's going to be till 3 or 4 o'clock, and we'll know, and we either pick up another one or not.
Do you have to leave anybody back because of signing day stuff, or is everybody going on the plane today?
Personnel?
Yeah.
No, everybody's going.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, technology
up there.
nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, we could probably, if there's Wi-Fi on the plane, we could probably FaceTime somebody on the plane. So.
For more information, you can visit tulsaworld.com.